Okay, there is the today's session in SQL Server, SQL Saturday 2022. There is I'm going to tell myself. I'm Saifullah Azad. Now I'm working as a NAS Solution Limited. I have 20 years experience on uh, software development technology, where I spend maximum time spent on SQL Server development and .NET Framework. Here's my information, something. Okay. For the due to short time, I'm going forward telling them something. Okay. The today's topic is the 5 mistakes. That's mean something we know but we didn't use, which are not scalable for our developer, or we are developer. So the today's session for only developers who are developed in SQL Server development, but not it's for DBA. This is the main thing. First of thing, uh, I just try to share that with things uh, we always miss to use. Okay. So today's topics, coding convention. We always use the coding convention, our own coding convention. So there is something I want to say we missed in here. Also in the particular queries on maximum performance, when we create the queries, and there is some mistakes on we did for which impact on performance, and other things on index fragmentation. This is uh, told by previous speaker, Sanbhai. Then I can consider the calendar table, and finally using TemDB. TemDB also covered by Sanbhai, but I try to identify the missing area which helpful for us. Okay, coding convention. Coding convention, first thing is that remove unused variable and coders. Yeah, this is our common practice. This is human being, software developers being, we always develop, and there is some variable, extra parameter, extra variable available, which always be unused. So it's okay for development, but it's not okay for production server. So first thing is that we have to remove this unused variable or parameter in the production server, because it's impact on your execution time. So we can use it in the development sector, but in, when we deploy in the production server, we must take care on it. And here's the one query which help us the identify the how unused parameters or variable are available in our stored procedure function views, etc. The second thing is our development style. Here's the we should use the query, the keyword, SQL Server keyword. We should use in the uppercase. It will be better for reading. It's readable for everyone. So this readable thing is we have to consider in our development. When I create a stored procedure queries, anything, we have to consider it. It made the user or another developer helps to understanding the query. Here's the one example. Here all character is this small letter, but if I use this some upper letter, then it will be helpful for user. We as a developer, we always miss these things. Another carefulness and indentation. When we develop a query, we must some readable indentation who help us, which help me the understanding and the query. So this is also helpful for readable. And one thing is here, white space. The white space is helps to compiler to identify the identify and separate the queries theme. like that. Here's the query where customer is less than equal to 30. There is no gap. See? So when the gap is not there, the SQL Server compiler need to identify, need to take extra effort for identify the gap difference this operand and operator. So if I coding this condition is like a white space in between greater less than equal to before and after, then it will be simple for understanding and simple for performance and compilation. The other thing is that finally, we should just the comments. We must use comment for better understanding, but it's not too much. If too much comment is also impacted on compilation. So we use comment. This is like there is some comment we have avoid, like column name. It's CID. It's not understandable. For this reason, I use the customer ID as a comment. So this is many comments here, but we can avoid it with some tricky policy. That is, this is we can use the column name as the customer ID, then it's understandable. We can use uh, alias for understanding. We can also use the table name. Here's the table name that will help the understanding the column. So it's readable and we can avoid the comments. So this is the way we can avoid the comments in the our query, in our query. So that's the coding convention where we can improve ourselves by removing unused variable, using uppercase, indenting white space, and so on comments. The second topic is query optimization. There is some query. We can use some tricky point. There mistake in SQL. That is one first of the things is using select star. Always we use the select star. We know, and also we know it's a impact on our performance. So this is one of the scalable area where we can changes our column, use our column. Here's the one thing available except ID is also should be available. Okay, so except ID name is also impact on the performance. So we have to always should be use the particular column name here in the our queries. It will be perform good and readable. Second is of using schema name. And our query, we never use the schema name, right? But it will be always better for using schema name that will be perform better than without schema name. The third thing is set no count on. Okay, so in your query, this is store procedure or anything anywhere. If you use the set no count query, it will help you it will perform better than count query. There's the one example where we didn't use the no count set no count on. That will takes a extra effort, extra time for counting the result. Whereas if I use the say no count on, then it shouldn't count any result. For this, it will be faster than before one. Another thing is that most important implicitly conversion. We have to always check it proper variable declaration, and it shouldn't be implicitly convert any data type. Here's the example, and the result is a variable that's an SQL variant. Different types of variable SQL or SQL variant. A variable that will be performed, and here's the C2 conversation time. Here's the 6% time, and here's the 1% time for this query execution, and less on the last indexing query. What is if I use the worker, then it will be simply just go to the actual query and 100% here. So it will be faster than before one. So implicit conversion we should be avoid. Here's the tabular structure, what should convert or not should convert, but best way is no conversion. This is white label. Here's the another thing, joining. Joining, we are developer always use these types of joining. This is on the from keyword. We use multiple table name, and in where keyword we join the table. This is impacted on performance very much. Whereas we should use ANSI 92 joining. Here's the join, and also better inner join, left join, any kinds of join you should mention here. Then you join the is on operator on keyword. That will be performed better than before one. Okay, now I'm going to index fragmentation. Index fragmentation, we understand, we know the words the fragmentation. This is also available in OS, the Microsoft OS has a fragmentation, and here's the example, the fragmentation. I'm going to faster than it. So this is the stage when a new index is created, or any index rebuilt, or any index reorganized. After sometimes when some data added and deleted, then this scenarios happen. There is a multiple page available, and there is some gap on row. Okay, the row are gapped here after some time, and finally when new data is added, then there's data available on this area. So the page are occupied and unsorted data. So for this reason, I have to reorganize or rebuild, or this is called fragment. We should use the here for first level data finding. So how to check? There is the some query option where you can row store index and the column store index, where you can identify which index get how many times is here, taking time here. Okay, so this is first one, and another thing is column store index. Okay, you can use this query for identify the average time. Average time here. I also mentioned here the link. You got this data. And finally, there is what should we do before fragment? We have to identify the index fragment, how much the index should be identified, should be fragment. We have to identify, then remove unused index. We also find out the that's index, those index are not used currently. Then identify the defect and missing index, which index is not not available in system. We have to identify them. Then we have to do rebuild and reorganize the index. This is the fragment option. And one thing is we have to understand category of fragment percentage. You need to know that how percentage we have to after how percentage we have to do the fragment. There is the telling thing is that Microsoft suggests that we rebuild index when we have greater than 30% fragmentation, and reorganize when they are in between 5% to 30% fragment. Those are general guidelines to follow, but bear in mind that this will cover to a good percentage of databases in real world, but again, this might not apply to for each other situation. You can use your situation, but this is the in general standard practice. Okay. Also, you can create a job which can identify the this percentage and fragment the index. So currently, I am going to two types of fragment area. One is rebuild, one is reorganize. Rebuild and reorganize. There is one thing we have to note. Remember that one thing we have to remember that rebuild delete the index and recreate the index. Whereas reorganize cannot delete, do not delete the index. It's just rearrange uh, the data. It's just sorting the data and putting physically the data on the particular pages. So one thing is to remember that in the production server we can rebuild when that database is not live. So when database is live, we shouldn't do the rebuild option. We should use their reorganize the option. So here's the code or query. You can reorganize and rebuild. For reorganize, you can do particular index or particular row group of index or particular index on particular tables. So you can do it in the particular tables for index reorganize. And for rebuild, you can two types of rebuild. You can rebuild the on index, which is can be used multiple tables, or you can use rebuild the index in particular table. And finally, I am going to calendar table. And we know the calendar table, but we didn't use properly. If we missing the proper thing in the calendar table, then it will be hampered our performance. What is the missing thing? I think this is primary key. Calendar table we know. So I'm not going to telling how we create calendar table. I just avoid it because of time consuming. So I'm going to telling which are we missing. We're missing the primary key. Primary key should be here by number type. But whereas we always use primary key as a date type. Date type is slower than number type. So when we use primary key as a date type, then it would not get us the actual result. Uh, I mean actual performance effort benefit. So if we want to actual benefit, we should use the numeric data type. That will be helpful for us. So calendar table helpful to us. Also, we have some extra benefit here. We can use weekend and holidays manage here. We can also use multiple formatted dates, or we can also multiple languages date. So I already covered it. How to use? Here's the using way. I mentioned here. We can joining two tables. We can joining the date available tables with the dim date table or calendar table. Then it will be faster than any date part, date add, date subtract types window command. So temp table. I think same temp table. Asan is covered. Is very uh, uh, very generally and in deeply. So I should avoid something, but here's I want to say something that temptable TMDB affects the performance on all SQL server. That means in your SQL server, all types of your operation is affected on temp tables. All temporary works are done by temp table. It's a simple, it's a system-defined table, database, but it's affected by all types of your database. Temporary work is affected on this table. Many background process use it in DB. So my system and your many background tables also impacted and then tables. So it should be always clean and faster. For cleaning that, you just restart your service, then it will be automatically regenerate the table and all are as the primary level. That means all cache are removed, all memory are removed, then it will be better using for our system. It should be clean all the time for our better performance. So how we can do it? check the number of data files, review the size and auto close setting, use the dedicated hard disk drive, and use a trace flags number T1117 and T1118. So thank you. For short time, I will not describe everything, and thank you for this listen.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have just one question.
Sure.
There is a important thing is the fill factor. Okay, so what is the good for the fill factor? There is a Microsoft suggestion, but in practically, what are the criteria to set about the fill factor?
Field factor, which area you want to, is it
The
templating?
indexing.
Indexing?
No. I am talking about the indexing. When you set the indexing, then we can set the fill factor, right? 70% or 80% or 90%. You have
Okay.
shown in the yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So, what fill factor is good? There is a Microsoft suggest this is the in general practice, but is there in the practical scenario, is there any findings to set the fill factor? What is the good for the fill factor, like 90 or 80 or 70, based on
Okay.
the scenario?
This
I'm
is
just
actually this is for your depends on your database. It's depend on your database size, database using, database performance. Three indicator is here for managing the this field factor. You know, because of if your database is so small, so you can your field factor can be 70 or 80. Okay, but your huge
Now,
you have
considering the big database, actually, all are about need to the big database.
you have
I'm
this
talking
is
about for the big database and very busy table. Suppose this
okay.
user table is very busy table. So, what is the good fill factor for that table?
Okay. You have to analyze it on your database and identify the actual field factor. Uh, it, it's not it's an just a general guideline. Not you have to maintain this
Oh,
field factor. Okay. I told the on
okay,
session. Okay.
okay,
It's
thank you.
not a it's not a mandatory. If it's your up to you. If you think this is a need your 25, when it over the 20%, then you should you have to do it. Then you do. If you see that it's covered to 40 and 50% no hampered in your database, then you can set it on the 50%. No problem.
Okay,
But
thank you
it's a
very much.
guideline for that's why.